So the Bluecoats is an organization that I was really comfortable with. A lot of my instructors in high school are from the Bluecoats, and some of my family members even marched the Bluecoats. And it was always just the next step for me. It was never like, oh, I wonder where I'm going to march. It was always going to be the Bluecoats. It was never a hard decision for me, and I always just knew I wanted to end up there. So my first audition at the Bluecoats was really nerve-wracking because the summer before I had taken off to save up some money, and I was not really sure about my standing in drum corps, like whether or not I would be prepared enough, or if I was going to be welcomed back into the community. And it went pretty well for me. A lot of the instructors were really happy to see me there, and I had a pretty strong audition. I remember specifically my individual with Roger Carter. He watched me play, and then he just gave me some positive feedback, and I left the room and I thought, wow, I feel pretty good about myself. I was really nervous for that moment, but it ended up being okay. So the individual audition is usually with Roger Carter, and for me, he just went through the whole packet. He said, play molar mods, play, upbeat triplet rolls, play all these exercises, contrasting differences, and it was really nerve-wracking because he would say, all right, play this, and then he had a stick and a met in his ear, and he just started hitting it on the table, and I was like, okay, here we go, I'm doing it. And it was really just a one chance type thing. If you broke, he would say, all right, next, and I felt pretty comfortable, but at the same time, it was really nerve-wracking because I knew, the individual audition at the Bluecoats is a very important part of the audition, and if anything, is the most important part of the audition. So when you're in the whole room with 20 snare drums and all the staffs in front of you, in that moment it's more of a clinic. It's more of going through the exercises and like defining things, talking about how you're supposed to play them, but don't get me wrong, it is still definitely an audition. People are watching you at all times, and in regards to that, always keep in mind that you are auditioning. You can be sitting on a pad, not on a drum, and how you're playing is still being looked at. People are always watching you, and they're always looking at your hands, looking at your technique, looking at you and your attitude. And that was one thing I always noticed when I would be out auditions is you can tell a lot from a person auditioning just by watching them and watching their their mannerisms, how if they seem confident in themselves. You could always, or at least I could always point out someone and be like, he could probably be a Bluecoat one day, just because how he carried himself and how he felt about his own playing, and he just carried himself in a very confident way. So to help myself with pressure, I always just told myself, thinking negatively about my abilities, or what if I mess up, what if I don't play it as good as I want, that kind of thinking is never going to help. I always told myself, I'm fine, I'm going to do great. Like, worst case, I play it not as well as I want to, and then life goes on. And you always just want to keep your head above water, in a sense. You always want to be one step ahead. You never want to be like cowering in your shell and thinking, oh man, I'm so nervous, because then the pressure just keeps building on. The more you bring yourself down, the more the pressure gets to you, and it just is a snowball effect, and I always try to tell myself, just be confident, be who I am. If they want me in the drum line, they want me in the drum line, and if I play relaxed and confidently, that is how I am going to play all summer, and if that's what they want, that's what they want. So the camps, especially in the earlier camps, are definitely a lot of packet. They go very slow through the whole packet to make sure that everyone's very comfortable with it. Later in the audition process, like maybe at the callback camp, they start taking bigger strides, and they'll say, all right, you by yourself play contrasting differences, or you by yourself play molar mods. And it's really just to make people fold under pressure and see who can take it or not. And then that's, if they have more decisions to make, that's when they'll start throwing things at you, like play this grid by yourself, play this random thing we just thought of right now to play, or you know, both years I've been there, it's been play this chunk of show music that we got Friday night, and you don't really know that well. You know, it's just things to like get under your skin and make you kind of feel uncomfortable, just to see if you can handle it. And that's really all an audition is. So to prepare for an audition where you don't know what you're gonna play, that's always tricky because, you know, you don't know what you don't know. And what I always found is you can just always improve your vocabulary. You can always increase it, I guess I should say. You can always learn something else. You can always, you know, I can sit at home on my pad and I can play some weird rudiment and think, what if I played this off the left? Or what if I switched the diddle and the flam? And just anything that you've never thought of before, probably someone else has and probably someone will. And that also means that they could throw that at you at a camp. So whenever you're just like, you know, hacking by yourself at home, just think of random things that don't really feel so good. And if they don't feel good in your hands, it's because you're not comfortable with them. And you know, you can always, I always found that just writing licks and like, you know, kind of like having fun and just playing random things, you put a bunch of rudiments together and it feels uncomfortable at first, but then you start practicing those, and then so now you can play a lot of variations of rudiments and skills back to back because you just decided to play them one day. And then also, besides, you know, physically playing those things, I always like to tell myself that you're going to be uncomfortable if you tell yourself you're uncomfortable. If they throw something at you at a camp and you've never played it before, and you go, like, you bring your sticks up and you're about to play it, and you think, I'm really nervous because I've never played this before, chances are it's going to make it worse, right? You always want to just be confident and just do the best you can. You know how your hands are, you know how your hands feel, you know what you are and aren't good at, and you know that. And so you can play to your strengths and weaknesses by just being yourself, playing how you want to play, and playing confidently. And if it doesn't, you know, if you go to play a grid and you can't play it, then that's fine. Like, they aren't gonna like embarrass you or anything. They aren't gonna make you feel bad. It's just you can't play it, and that's fine. Okay, so at the Bluecoats, you have to also do a visual audition, and this part of the camp doesn't take up a whole lot of time because definitely to the percussion staff, they are definitely more intrigued by how you play, and they are way more impressed with your drumming skills than your visual skills. That being said, you shouldn't completely disregard the visual audition because I've seen really great players at camps be cut because they were not great marchers. So you still have to have a very good understanding of the visual package as well as the musical package. So the percussion staff at the Bluecoats all more or less have the same understanding of what they want in a performer, and I would say the most important things are confidence, a positive outlook on the activity and just in general, and really strong playing. They love really strong players, and being confident helps that. It also helps to be very positive. You know, having a negative person in a room always just kind of makes everyone feel uncomfortable. And so being very positive and happy and just, you know, glad to be there, it really does help, and they definitely see that. And that with confidence too, they can really see it. It's really obvious when you look at someone who is really confident in themselves and then you look at someone who may not be so confident. It's night and day, and they really do want to see a confident, positive, and strong player. So the biggest piece of advice I can give someone going to a Bluecoats audition for the first time is, it sounds really cheesy, but just be yourself. You know, you don't want to put on a fake layer just for an audition because, you know, what if you make it and you made it because of that fake layer? Then you have to either change or you have to, you know, maintain that, and you're not going to be yourself and you're not going to have fun, right? Like, an audition is an audition. They are wanting to see who you are as a person and as a drummer. So if you put up something that you're really not, you know, that's not really good for you, and it's just really, I really recommend going in and being yourself, no matter what. If that means you're not really strong at playing, that's just what it is. But I would much rather see someone audition who is really comfortable in their own skin and just really happy to be there.